Alright guys, I want to go over about how I score the lines onto my statues. Basic resin that you get from pre-painted statues is very hard to score into. You can kind of scrape it. You can use a Dremel tool to make lines, but you really, if you're not super careful and you don't take your time, you'll get wrong lines, stuff won't work out and everything, so it gets kind of messy. So basically, as you can see here, this is my Sage custom from Extreme X-Men. She has an X on her shirt. I don't like how it's designed in the comic. It's kind of drawn different ways and different issues, so I kind of want to wake up my own way. But if I was going to scrape it into the resin here, it'll take forever. It's very hard to scrape. It gets messy. It's just a pain. So what I did was, basically, I sanded straight off her breast. I mean, I just used a sander tool and I just sanded straight down, and I got my Aves epoxy sculpt and I sculpted onto there. So now if I go to squirt it with an X-Acto knife, my dentist tools, or any of these tools that I have here, it'll come off easier and you get nice lines. So what you do now is, I'm going to sculpt onto the shirt. So once I get her shirt all sculpted, and around here I'll have this part here as Aves is underneath, so I can still scrape under it and I can get the line work I want. I'm going to design it differently, so once I get the shirt done and we get to that point, I'll show you how I scrape out lines, so this way when you go to primer and everything's in there, you got yourself the line work and it's really easy. So when I get this all set up, we'll be back and I'll show you how I go about it. Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, I'm going to show you here how I etch into Aves epoxy sculpt. As I said before, regular resin that you get from a pre-painted statue is very hard to scrape into. But Aves is very easy to scrape into, but it's still tough. On this statue, this is my Sage Extreme X-Men custom I'm working on for myself. On her breast here is an X, and I wanted to etch it into the shirt. I didn't want to actually sculpt it out. Basically what I did is I sanded off the breast and then I resculpted the orange Aves onto that, and now all this white shirt is Aves too. So this is basically all Aves. Right here you're gonna make your circles. What you want to do is you want to find the center point, and I have my tool here. These tools are used for making circles. You know, you put it down and you make circles, but what I do is I put two points on each one, and basically you just use it and you scrape out your circle. It's a little bit difficult, but it's easy once you start getting used to it. You want to use one that kind of locks, that turns like this. You don't want to use one of these because it doesn't really lock and it'll always move on you. Of course you have bigger ones with different pieces, different stuff you could take in and out. I mean, if you really want to do large circle ones, they have attachments where you can put it onto the piece like this and you could do a huge circle type thing going around. It all depends. This set I had from college, so it just works out. So what you want to do is you want to find your center point. Now this is just a really rough pencil marking just to get an idea where I'm going to go. Kind of want to put it here. See where it ends up here, see where it ends up over here, here. That's kind of, don't really want it there too much, kind of want it a little bit higher. Got to kind of play with it, shrink it down a little, see where it goes. Now I'm going to go a little bit over here. Yeah, that's kind of where I want it, so, yep. So what you do is you kind of just, see it's a little, you gotta get a nice, let's see, we get this camera here. This is the center point, right here. Kind of jam that in. And what you want to do is just go and then you might gotta go kind of easy at first, kind of just get it. As you can see, it gives you a nice line, scrapes in. The more you turn it, the more you're going to screw up the little center hole. That's okay. And once you pretty much get the line, then you could kind of go in a little bit harder. And it does turn out. You want to make sure all your pieces are tight in this too, because if it isn't tight, it's going to loosen up on you. And then you start making an oval instead of a circle. So as you can see, the line's starting to go around it. And you kind of want to go a little bit deep because you will get dust in this if you sand. Then if you prime, it'll start filling up. So you kind of want to get in there a little bit deeper. And of course you got to get it comfortable. I'm trying to show you guys how I do it, but it's kind of hard if it's not in a comfortable position. I know it's a couple extra steps the way I did this, but this is, so as you can see, got the line going around in there. So now, of course, our X is a little bit smaller because, you know, we got to make it a red X. So what I'm going to do is unscrew this a little bit, shrink it down a little bit more. Same thing with this one. Make sure it's tight. Now I have my center little tiny hole, if you could kind of see it, right in here. So what you do is you put this here, and I'm going to want the X about that thick. So since I've got my center, do the same thing. Oh, see, turned it a little bit. That's not good. Get back into that spot. And you can use this process for anything, really. If you're doing a circle on a specific character, say you want to make a shield, you can use these tools to help you do guides. Like if you're doing Captain America's lines on a shield. I've repaired a couple shields in the past by doing this. Filled in all the lines and then created my own. But I always filled it up with Aves because Aves scrapes up nice and even. You can do this on resin, but it will take a long time to scrape out resin. But Aves works wonders. And if you do start filling it with primer and you get dust and stuff, you can always go back and kind of re-scrape it out too. So as you can see, it gets a little bit harder. So what I'll do is I'll take my pencil. Oh, keeps breaking. But let's see, we can kind of get in here a little bit for you guys. So as you can see how I did it. It's all scraped up now. Basically at this point, what I want to do is I want to create the X. That's a little bit difficult. You kind of want to use your center point. You kind of want to work out the guides of where you're going to put the X. Of course, if it doesn't work, what you can do, grab some of this 3M sandpaper. I love this stuff. I use this stuff all the time. It's fine stuff. Lift this open. And basically, it's kind of like erasing. So, So as you can see, we're going to have the circle, and then I got to create the lines with the X. I really want to take my time and measure out these lines and get it all correct before I actually start doing that. But what I will do is I'll show you is once I get that done, I use my X-Acto blade right here, and then I kind of score and score it a little bit just to get my line work done. And then I use one of my, where are they? I know they're here somewhere. One of my dentist tools. This dentist tool here is like a scraper. It's like a little tiny triangle type thing, and this thing works wonders. So when once I get my line, I'll scrape it, but we'll come back to that once I get these done.